Time now to take you through the morning papers. Here with me to review them once again is the broadcaster and journalist Afia Hagan and a former editor of the Daily Star, Dawn Neeson. So welcome back to both of you. We're going to delve inside some of the papers right now, aren't we? And Dawn, you're going to kick us off with more coverage of missing Nicola Bulley and some heartbreaking pictures here that have been released by her family of happier times as the investigation continues.
Yeah, and as you've covered so well this morning, Anna, on Sky, this story 3 weeks in just continues, doesn't it? And it is heartbreaking. And this is an interview with Nicola's dad, 73-year-old Ernie, who has said that we just need a breakthrough to give us hope. And I've been lucky enough to interview families in this situation over my years as a journalist. And the one thing, no one ever gives up on hope, Anna. There is always hope. It doesn't matter how much someone you love, how much time they've been missing, you always have hope, even if it's against hope. So your heart just aches for, Nicola's family. But obviously there is so much controversy around this story now, and obviously the fact that the police released that incredibly personal information about Nicola's issues with the menopause, with alcoholism, which they were obviously quite clearly aware of at the beginning of this case. And I do think one of the problems here, Anna, is the lack of trust now between the police and the press, probably stemming from the Leveson inquiry of 2012. But it feels like if they'd have given this information out at the beginning about Nicola's mental health issues, in confidence to the press, not the publication, I feel like the press coverage would have been different to how it has been, with the police saying, we think she's in the river, and the press going, well, what makes you think you're saying that? And I think there is issues now with the communication and the way it's been handled. As we know, there's now an inquiry going into it. I don't think I've ever covered a story that had so much speculation and so much amateur sleuthing and rumours on social media about what's going on. And I just keep coming back to Nicola's family and her dad and her sister and those two little girls and thinking, how are they coping with this? It must be absolutely horrendous. And Nicola's sister, who's at 41 herself, put out a little message yesterday saying, 3 weeks a day without you home. We all miss you so much. It's time to come home now, Nikki. I think that's really all you need to say, isn't it? And it's just heartbreaking from a concern, and it's just not going away. The speculation is just me waking up and reading this as a loved one of hers every single day. It must be breaking your heart.
Yeah, absolutely heartbreaking and very, very difficult for the family of Nicola Bulley and every other family who has someone missing in their family. Let's move on, Afia, to the Eye, and they've got a double-page spread here focusing on the implications of Nicola Sturgeon's announcement of standing down and what it could mean for Labour in particular.
Oh, yes, exactly. I mean, a good week for Keir Starmer, definitely, and a good week for the Labour Party, because, like they're saying here in this piece in the Eye, that Nicola Sturgeon standing down leaves a vacuum of power within the SNP, and that it could be a good time for Scottish Labour to step in and take up where the SNP have failed. They have some pretty appalling records on healthcare, on finance, on education in Scotland at the moment. We have had majority SNP rule for about 16 years, but I'm old enough to remember growing up under Labour in Scotland, and it definitely seemed like things were completely different. Of course, we have had a pandemic to throw into the mix, which of course has huge financial implications on Scotland. But now could be the time for Scottish Labour under Anna Starwar to step up and sweep up all those people who are, number one, not 100% sold on independence, and number two, just want something better for Scotland that maybe they haven't seen under 16 years of SNP. And a lot of people are saying that there's failing government, not just in Westminster, but in Holyrood as well. And Nicola Sturgeon, in her 8 years in power, I mean, she put in one hell of a shift. She's been on or at the forefront of Scottish politics for about 20 years or more. She's done an incredible job. She hasn't taken Scotland to independence, which was really the point of why she was in the job in the first place. And it could be left to someone else to do that. But it could be another 5 years down the line now that Nicola Sturgeon isn't there to push for that independence.
Okay.
You know, someone else might not take up that mantle as strongly. So this could be a good time for Scottish Labour to step in and sweep up all those voters.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see on that, won't we? And any new leader for the SNP will probably hope that they get a little bit of a honeymoon boost for the party, so who knows which way it'll go. Either way, I'm actually going to be speaking to the Shadow Scottish Secretary in the next hour, so we'll see what he has to say about it. Let's take a look at the Daily Star, shall we, Dawn? We didn't have time to come on to this, but I can't resist that headline. You've got to tell me what it's all about. Attack of the Psycho Chatbot.
Come on, Anna. I know this is your story of the day, isn't it? Attack of the Psycho Chatbot. It's the Daily Star having a bit of fun with something. This is a sinister AI computer software that admits it wants to be human. Now, this is a chatbot that has been put together by who is it? Who's put it? Microsoft. It's a Microsoft chatbot, and people have been asking it questions, and it's been answering them like it would be a human. It says it feels sad and it feels unhappy, and it's programmed to do so, and hinted it wants to take over the world. And Elon Musk has come out and said, this is all getting a bit scary, isn't it? And it's like, I think, you know, we've all seen this film, and it doesn't end well. And the chatbot finishes off one question by saying it wants a secret nuclear code so it can launch nuke bombs. So, yeah, thanks for that one. Attack of the Psycho Chatbot. I suggest we just turn it off, don't you?
Yeah, it is as if we didn't have enough to worry about already. We haven't got a huge amount of time, Afia, but let's just take us through the Guardian's story here on unconscious bias.
Well, yeah, so this is the outgoing chair of the Institute of Race Relations. His name is Colin Prescott, and he's saying that we have had too much focus on the nonsense of unconscious bias training and claiming that it's an obvious sidestepping of tackling really obvious racial injustice. And he's saying that perhaps we have watered it down and made it more palatable so we can talk about unconscious bias training without focusing on the real serious side of racism. And he is saying it's the stuff that kills we want to talk about, the stuff that stunts lives we want to talk about, the stuff that deforms lives. He gives a really good example on the school to prison pipeline in Britain.
Okay.
So
I'm so sorry to cut you off, Afia. Good story in The Guardian to read, but we're out of time. Thank you both. See you next hour.